All right. So here we are. Enough people had said to me, geez, Ali, you love the sound of your own voice, that I thought, okay, how can I utilize that and actually create something where I'm not going to be told to shut up? Podcast. Isn't that why most people actually made their podcast? So that they could talk about the shit that they want to talk about and not have anyone tell them that they can't talk about it. Pretty sure that's the reason. So I thought, WTF, that's why I'm here, and that's what I'm going to do. So first caveat, there is some language in this podcast. When I get very passionate, I do swear. However, this podcast is primarily about language and mindset. So if my language offends you, you are welcome. And this is probably a really good podcast for you to really push you outside of your comfort zone. If it's not for you, hey, that's cool. Go with love, go do you. It's all good. So what I called it is automatic mouth. And it's funny, when I was thinking of the name for this podcast, I said to my husband, I said, I've got this great name. I'm going to call it automatic mouth. He said, I don't know what that means. What are you talking about? So I realized, all right, yeah, I've got to give a bit of context here, don't I? Otherwise, no one's going to know what the heck I mean by that. So here's what I mean by automatic mouth. You know how often we, bitch and complain and moan and we word vomit our feelings and our emotions. And then afterwards, how quick are we to say, I really didn't mean to say that. It just slipped out. I put my foot in it. Whatever other colloquialisms you can come up with. However, pretty much what we're saying is that we engaged the mouth before the mind. And what came out, we didn't mean to say it. And it wasn't our fault and all this sort of bullshit. And it is just that. It's bullshit. So automatic mouth is actually about, let's talk about how we can take control of our automatic mouths so that we're not in a position where we are regretting and doubling back on things that we've said. Because don't you think actually, like, when people are afraid to, put their hand up and ask a question at, a meeting or a forum or something, or even way back to school, and kids are afraid to put their hand up and speak, it's because most of the time we're afraid of judgment, right? We're afraid of looking stupid. And the only way we can look stupid is with someone else calling us that, someone else determining that from what we've said. So then we start to really mute ourselves and filter ourselves to the point that when our reactions take over, when we have an emotional outburst or when we're a little under the weather with a little bit of alcohol, that's when suddenly those filters, we're not so in control of them anymore, and our mouth becomes automatic and we start to actually say what we're thinking. Holy shit. Hasn't that got us into a little bit of trouble at times? Yet, what's the reason? What's the reason it's got us into trouble? Because we're being fake in real life. We're not being honest with ourselves and other people about how we feel, how we think. Now, I'm not saying you just go out there and start, cracking on and cracking out at everyone. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to create a better life for you. So what if, though, you could have such control over your thoughts, over the language you use within your world and within your inner world, that you're no longer afraid of what comes out of your mouth. You stand by everything that comes out of your mouth. And I'm not talking the bravado bullshit stand for what you say, because I've seen that too, and I'm sure you have as well, where people will say, no, stand by it. I don't care. No, stand by it. And you can tell from their body language that that is about their ego, isn't it? You know, and I've done that too, where, again, for fear of judgment, you say, no, I'm standing by it. That's what I said it and I meant it. And inside, your heart is racing like a freaking rabbit because you're like, oh, shit, I'm going to be carrying this one for a long time. And that incongruency with how we actually feel and what we say, that incongruency creates that internal conflict that keeps so many people stuck and unhappy and actually tightens your body. So you end up with tight muscles and stomach issues and all sorts of bits and pieces because you are not flowing in a natural alignment with your values, with your mind, body, soul, with your language. It doesn't all line up. So what if we could get it all to line up? I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's an overnight. You know, it's not a Pantene moment. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. What I'm saying is we can work towards it. And that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years, is really focusing on the language that I use when I talk to myself and the language that I use when I talk to other people. And in doing that process, I have really cut down on the automatic mouth problems. I'm a lot more proud of the things that I say. And I do stand by a lot more of what I say because it aligns with my values and how I truly feel and how I truly think. So that's what automatic mouth is all about. And I really just wanted to give you a bit of an insight into what we're going to be talking about. And what I'll do is in the next episode, I'll introduce myself a little bit about my story, where I come from, and why the heck you should listen to my podcast when there is an absolute buffet sea of podcasts out there that you can be listening to. So stay tuned. I would love to see you come back and listen to episode 2 and hear a little bit about me. And then we'll crack on and we'll get stuck into some real cool language and mindset stuff. Until then, catch you then. See ya.